First, I will show you how you can connect DeepSeek to Make.com, and then we'll walk through 3 real-world examples so that you can start using AI in your scenarios right away. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create an account at DeepSeek. So go to deepseek.com, and then here at the top right, we want to go to their API platform. API stands for Application Programming Interface. That's like a very taggy name, but it's basically just a way for Make and DeepSeek to talk to each other. So we go to the API platform, and then over here we go to sign up. Now, then enter your email address, enter a password, and then request a code to be sent. So then here it says verification code was sent. Go over to your inbox, get the verification code. So in this case, that is this over here. And then I go here and then I click sign up. And then the first thing you will see is your dashboard with your usage and your balance, which of course says 0 right now. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add a few bucks to our account so that we can actually use it. My suggestion would be to add $5. That's already a lot already. That's like thousands upon thousands of completions. It's very affordable. So select $5, choose your payment method, go to the next steps, and then afterwards you'll see that you have $5 in your account. Now then the first thing that we need to do is we need to create an API key for Make.com. So it's basically like a little password that we can use to connect to our account. So we click that over here, and then I like to name this Make.com and then create API key. Now then we need to copy this over here, and then what's very important is that you do not lose it because you'll never see this again. So if you want to reuse it maybe for something, then copy that. But what we basically do is we copy it, we click here done, then we go over to Make, and then what we want to look for is the DeepSeek module. Now then look here for DeepSeek AI verified. So that's like the official DeepSeek module. And then over here we are going to use create a chat completion. Now then it will ask us to create a connection. So I just call this one then DeepSeek, and then we paste that API key from earlier in here. So I click save, then it is going to connect. It will take a second, and then you will get all the options for the module over here. Now then, just a very quick explanation. So we have user and system. So system is basically to tell it, okay, what is your purpose? And user is like adding more details to whatever you're trying to do. So here, system, for example, we can say you are helpful assistant. And the name you can leave empty. And then we add another item, and then we say here, user, and you just say, hi there, for example, right? Now then, down here, we select the model. So we have here DeepSeek Chat, and we have DeepSeek Reasoner. And chat is very handy for like quick tasks, like you want to like summarize something, you want to generate some text, you want to create content, something like that. And Reasoner is more handy if you want to analyze something. I'll also show you an example of that in a bit. So right now, I'm just going to set here this to chat. And then we have here the maximum amount of tokens it will use. I'll just leave this to the default, but if you want, you can reduce this. And then over here, we have the temperature. This is quite important. This will basically tell it how creative it's going to be. So the lower the number, the less creative it is, and the more it will stick to the rules that you give it. So usually I like to set this to 0.2. So this will make it a tiny little bit creative, but it's not going like rogue and it's going to like ignore our rules. Now then we have response format. You can choose between text and a JSON object. JSON is basically just a text-based data structure. We'll also show you another example of that in a bit. But now I'm going to leave this to text. I click here save, click save again. And then now I'm just going to click here run once just to test, see if it's working. And then over here we have the result. Hey, hello, how can I help you today? So it's like a very simple result, right? We did not tell it anything complex to do, to create, or to write. So it gives also a very simple response. But this is how you connect DeepSeek to Make.com. Now I want to show you 3 really cool real world examples. Now the first one is to create a Facebook post whenever a new video was published on my YouTube channel. You can also use it for something else, like an article on the website or even another website. But this is how I use it. So over here, I have the youtube.com feed for my YouTube channel. So then whenever a new video gets posted, this one starts once a day at 9 o'clock. Then it's going to check, hey, is there something new? And then it's going into the DeepSeek module. And then over here, you see again that we have a system role and we have a user role. So the system over here says you are a professional copywriter for social media and you write one short Facebook post based on a new video that I will provide the details of. The purpose of the post is to share and announce the videos and get people to watch it, and then I give it a bunch of important rules. Now then below here under user, I have new video details, title, and then the title from the RSS module and also the description from the RSS module. Then I used the DeepSeek chat model. I did not limit the tokens, and I set the temperature again to 0.2 so that it gets a little bit creative, but I do not want to get it too creative because otherwise it's just going to ignore these rules over here. And then what I did is I get a result from this, I'll also demonstrate it in a bit, and then we get a Facebook post, and then I'll just share the result as a post, and then also I link to that new video. So let me demonstrate. Click here run once. So then you see over here, we get here one of my tutorials on YouTube, how to extract an email address from a text in make.com. Then over here, you see that it generated that Facebook post. So here, need to pull an email address from a messy block of text. I just made a quick video showing you how to usually do that with make.com. Now, and then I posted this to Facebook. And then the second example is this scenario over here that helps me to organize my inbox in Gmail. So over here, this module is going to watch for new emails. And then with DeepSeek, I'm going to analyze that email. So over here, you see I have a system-based role that says here, you are an assistant that organizes my emails, analyze the provided email, and return only the name of the most relevant label from this list. Now then I give it a list of labels that I have in Gmail. You can also see those over here. And then down here, user, I said here, I give some details basically of the email. So I give here who the email was sent to, the subject line, and then also the text content of that email. And then here the model, so instead of the DeepSeek chat, I used DeepSeek Reasoner because I'm analyzing something. So it's good at doing that. So that's why I used that one over there. And then again, I left the temperature to 0.2. Now then I say here, okay, return in text. And then we go into a router, and then you see over here that I compare the result if it's equal to the name of that label. And then if that is so, then I add that label with this module over here. So you see here, then it adds purchases. So let's test that over here. Click save, run once. So then it's going to look for new emails. And then you see that we have a new email. Then the email will be sent to DeepSeek for analyzing. And then after that is done, it will tell us which label to apply to that. So then you see over here that we got that result subscriptions. So whatever email we got, it said it is a subscription. So it went over here, the result is equal to subscriptions. So we added the subscriptions label. And then the third example is processing a contact form submission. That's always cost quite a lot of time, and I was thinking, hey, how can we make this like a little bit faster? And now I use DeepSeek to summarize basically the email and then use this as a subject line so that I immediately know, hey, this is what that email is about. And I also use it to personalize one little sentence that I send back to someone. Not super necessary, but I thought it's fun. So over here we get the contact form data. I will demonstrate that in a bit. And then we go to the DeepSeek module, and over here we say, hey, process this form submission and return only a valid JSON object with the following structure. So we want to get a subject and we want to get a summary. So here I said, okay, I want to have a short title, maximum 40 characters, summarizing the message. And then a summary. And basically what I wanted is, I wanted to have something that fits naturally into the sentence. I just wanted to let you know that I got your email about ... And then I'll use that to personalize the email. Now then down here, under user, I said, okay, here, this is the content of the form submission. Then the model will use DeepSeek chat tokens. I just left it to that. And then the temperature I set again to 0.2 so that it sticks to our rules over here. And then under response format, instead of text, I now said JSON object. And this is quite handy to know. That's also why I wanted to include this example, is that you do not always want to have just one result with a text. Sometimes you maybe want to get a bunch of stuff back that you would then want to use later on in your scenario. So a JSON object, so JSON is basically just like a text-based data structure. It's just like a way for programs to understand a format of data, and Make really works well with this. I also have a guide about JSON. I will put that in the description if you want to check that one out. But so over here we have a JSON object. And then to make sure that make understands the JSON object, we parse that JSON. So we put our result in here, and then we have something that we can then use inside our emails as a subject line over here. And also here in my sentence, I just wanted to let you know that I got your email about, and then over here we have the summary. So let me demonstrate this. So click here, okay. Then I will submit the form on my other screen. And then over here you see, okay, we got the form submission. So here, first name Emma, email address Emma Doe, question, I'm working on a project to teach people how to bake bread. Could you help me to automate the student onboarding process? Just an example of something I get. And then over here you see now that we got this as a result back. Subject, bread baking project help, summary, automating the student onboarding process for your bread baking project. So then we have this JSON structure over here. And then now we set here parse the JSON. So now you see here that we have these variables that we can then use later on in our scenario again, like we did over here. So here we just click here and then you can just like map here these variables, subject and summary. And then now you see that it sent the email first to me about the submission. It's like, hey, we have a new submission. And then also to that person to let them know like, hey, I got your email. And that is this email over here. So you see here, bread baking project help. So that is the subject line it generated. Hey, Max. And then we have the personalized sentence. I just wanted to let you know that I got your email about automating the student onboarding process for your bread baking project. And then I'll get back to you within 1 or 2 days. I thought this is super fun to include. This is one of the things you can now do with automation. But if you want to make your life even a little bit easier, so now I showed you how to include the DeepSeek module into your Make.com scenario. Then I also want to invite you to the world of Open Router. It's a super cool tool to which you can basically connect to hundreds of large language models like DeepSeek. So this module over here. And what is really cool is you can just select any kind of module from any kind of company without having to create an account at all of these companies over here. So if you want to learn more about how to use that, you can, for example, even use DeepSeek and then also a free module of them. So it is already very affordable, but then it's even cheaper. So if you want to learn more about that, then watch this tutorial over here.